Well, another very warm welcome to, I think, episode number 7 of Wales Mails Walk and Talk. I hope you're doing well out there, folks. We're currently on the week commencing the 8th of March. I know the First Minister, Nicola Sturgeon, is making an announcement today at Parliament, so that's Tuesday, the 9th of March, to Parliament. And yeah, let's just see how things go. It would be nice to have a cup of tea with someone in their house. I know I've really missed that. I'd like to know what you've missed. You know, apart from going for a walk with us. So I thought I'd continue with the walk that we've been doing the last few weeks. So you remember we walked down the bridge, we turned left along Princess Street, past the Scott Monument, and on to Princess Street Gardens. So now I'd like to turn left, so we're back along Princess Street, still remaining on Princess Street, turn left up Lothian Road. Now you have a huge big hotel on the right hand side. It's one of these very nice 5-star ones. I've never actually been in one before. I do know someone who went in that hotel and they bumped into the singer, the musician Bruce Springsteen. So apparently very nice guy. I've never met anyone famous, I don't think. Let me think. I know I'd like to meet some people famous, for example, members of the group Queen, those that are still alive. Some actors and actresses. Who would you like to meet, folks? Dead or alive? I'd like to meet Freddie Mercury. I'd love to meet Elvis, actually. Have a cup of tea with him. I want to meet and chat to Neil Armstrong, the first man on the moon. Yuri Gagarin, the first man in space, or the first person in space. Anyway, I do digress, don't I? But yeah, I want to hear your opinions and thoughts. Okay, so we're continuing up Lothian Road. So rather than going straight up Lothian Road, we'll go past the cemetery on the left hand side. I want to take a left, my first left, because there's actually 2 lefts you can do. So down the first left, it goes downhill slightly in a slant. And many a times on a cold, wintry, even a wet day, going down there I've almost slid and on my back. And I guess many people have done that as well, because it's quite a tight wee corner, quite a steep wee corner as well. On we go, continuing down there, and we are passing the back of the cemetery on the left hand side, but to the right is the multi-storey car park. I think it's NCP it says, yeah. And those of you who are familiar with down that area, during the festival, or if there's any big concerts on at Princess Street Gardens, that road, King Stables Road, turns into pretty much a car park for big trucks and delivery vehicles and all that kind of thing, because the space is a wee bit restricted in this fine city of ours, isn't it? So on we go, walking along that road. Quite a quiet road today, actually. Again, still in lockdown, so not many cars on the road. Now I love this bridge that I'm coming up to, because there's always a musician underneath. So let's have a wee listen to that musician just now. Are you ready? Listening to musicians under this bridge, because the acoustics are amazing. It sounds so good. So, you know, you can hear singers, saxophonists, guitarists, people who play the harp, a whole array of musicians down there. It's great. So as I walk along, so I've not been along this road for a while, but I notice on the right hand side where there used to be a nightclub on the corner, and a lot of old buildings is now being demolished, and there's now some lovely flats I'm not quite sure if they're student flats or non-student flats, but they're very, very nice. Kind of fit in the landscape, I guess, but I quite like the kind of old-style Edinburgh tenements. There was a walk further along Kingstable Roads, as I mentioned a wee minute ago. Edinburgh Castle is to the left-hand side, and I think this is one of my favourite scenes or shots, if you like, of Edinburgh Castle, because you've got it right in front of you. It's very, very dramatic, and I tell you, walking up there from this level, it's very, very dramatic as well on the heart and the lungs, so it's a good workout. Should we go up these steps today? Let's not. Maybe that's for another day. Okay, let's continue into the area that we all know of. It's called the... Can you remember what it's called? Do you know? It's called the Grass Market. Now usually, again, anybody who knows the city well, the Grass Market is full of shops, small shops, boutique shops I guess, and bars. There are a few hotels in the Grass Market as well, but mainly bars on the left hand side with a large kind of walking area, a pedestrianised area rather. Usually you can have a dodge and fight for trying to get past, but obviously not today, which is nice. So as I mentioned, there's many pubs in the Grass Market, and there's very, very large, very small pubs. There's a pub called The Last Drop, and those of you who don't know why it's called The Last Drop is because right outside the pub called The Last Drop there used to be the site of gallows, and there's actually a concrete plaque, if you like, or a marking on the ground to show where said gallows were back in the days. We're talking about hundreds of years ago, and people used to be hung there. A lot of people thought there's a lot of people out there that thought there were a lot of witches in Edinburgh. Whether the witches or not, that's their choice, but it was certainly frowned upon, so unfortunately they were hung. Hung there, and then there you go. But there's loads of gallows, not just witches were hung there. There was a lot of, criminals, if you like, who were hung there, that their life would be ended there. So yeah, it's a nice wee it's a nice wee spot, a nice wee plaque to look at as well there, to be honest. So passing The Last Drop, we are about to go up. Now I mentioned about we're not going to climb hills or steep steps. We're now going to go up Victoria Street, which, as I said earlier, I mentioned about snow and icy and weather in Scotland. I remember a few years ago when we had the bad snow, walking up there very slowly, and one of the double-decker tour buses also decided to drive up this road. Now this road doesn't have tarmac on it, it has cobbles, so at the best of times when it's nice and sunny they can be quite slidey, but add ice, compacted snow in there, and you can imagine the bus didn't get too far before it rolled all the way back down the hill. Luckily no one was hurt, there's no damage done, but it was certainly a sight for sore eyes. And I think the bus driver got a wee bit of heck of a fright as well, poor man. This is one of my favourite streets in Edinburgh, Victoria Street, because as you walk up, it's nice walking down as well, but as you walk up, the wall to the left hand side gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's because above you, essentially, is the Royal Mile, the back of the Royal Mile. Royal Mile, where the castle is, where we walked up the other day, didn't we? And so we're behind the castle, behind the mile, and the huge big wall, which houses restaurants up there. There's also a hotel up there. So as we're walking up, nice street, nice long steep street, we begin to get to the top of the hill, and right in front of us is the most beautiful building, one of the most beautiful buildings in Edinburgh, the National Library of Scotland. If you haven't been in there, even if you're not a big reader, if you like, I would recommend a wee donder in there. Also, it may not be open just now. In fact, it isn't open just now due to the restrictions, but when it does reopen again, well worth a wee look around there, because it's a gorgeous looking building, inside and out. So we turn left again. We like turning left in these walks, and we're kind of going back uphill slightly, we're going past a hotel. We've got on the left hand side a bar called the Deacon Brodie's Bar, which is actually quite nice. Again, any normal day the place would be heaving and mobbed, but not today. So we cross that junction, we're on to the mound, and straight in front of us is the Bank of Scotland, and I think it's the head office. It's a very pretty building anyway, and I think you can go in there, again in normal times you can go in there, there's wee tours, and I know you can get your pennies pressed, so you put your penny in, like 50 pence, and you can get your pennies pressed. So that in itself is actually very good fun. I've enjoyed that. I've done that once before, I think, when I was much younger. That is almost the end of our walk today. We've covered a fair few miles. We're quite high up just now. We're actually at the top of the mound, so that's quite a good way to end this walk. Next week I shall be back out for another walk, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing you out on the next game walk. I shall speak to you very soon. Take care, folks. Bye.